Recently, I've been playing a little indie game known as Diablo 4. Not sure if anyone has ever heard of it. And you know, it's okay. If by okay, I mean super fucking rad. Me and my buddy Beth have been grinding the shit out of the game when we're not working, since the early access has dropped. That's right, we spent $100 to play early access on some game that we didn't even know would be good. You think that with all the hot, burning shit of broken games releasing this year, we'd have learned our lessons to never pre-order. But guess what? We didn't learn our lesson, and we got rewarded for blindly trusting one of the worst game companies of all time, because the game has run swimmingly, with only the occasional bug here and there. Oh my god, you're just continuously flying on my Yeehaw! The game has become my new addiction, and I can feel the itch to play even as I type this review. I've been a big fan of Diablo since Diablo 3 came out. I played the shit out of the game with my siblings. Some of my fondest memories in gaming was exploring New Tristram with my sisters and cousins, slaying monsters as the best class Crusader. So I was hesitantly excited and a bit biased for the release of Diablo 4. So when my boy Beth hit me up and was like, yo dog, the server slam for Diablo 4 was a banger, I was excited as shit. Early access drops and we download and get introduced to the world of Diablo 4. Let me get this out of the way first. Lilith, absolute mommy. 10 out of 10 would let her shove blood petals in my mouth and make me smash the head of my local priest. Besides the absolute hottie with the body that is Lilith, the story is actually pretty intriguing, and Lilith herself is a very interesting character. I want to avoid spoiling it as much as possible, but the prologue already had me hooked, questioning what exactly was going on and what Lilith's motives was for everything. Graphically, the game looks great, definitely an improvement in graphics over 3. There's so many different landscapes in the game that stand out so well, and each area has a distinct enemy too, so it's not like you're constantly fighting the same shit all the time. The map is fucking massive. You can feel the size of the map since you spend the majority of it on foot. My jaw dropped when I saw just how little I'd explored. Here's what my map looked like after only over 20 hours of playing. The character designs and voice acting is fantastic too, and as I've stated before, I'm a big fan of Lilith, and the way her voice actress performs and the way they designed her character is just like holy shit. The developers really knew what they were doing. And regarding voice acting, it's not just Lilith with good voice acting, even just minor NPCs perform very well. It doesn't just sound like some intern named Jim reading a script. As I've stated many times before, I'm a slut for good OST, and Diablo 4 has some amazing OST. The sweeping orchestrals to even just town music just makes me want to go. As stated before, I hardly ran into any issues in the game. Diablo 4 runs great. Most new games are poorly optimized and my PC absolutely chugs on even medium graphics nowadays, but I can say with full confidence that Diablo 4 runs incredibly well. I even knocked the graphics up to Ultra and have had no issues. Diablo's gameplay is also just amazing, addicting. I just can't get enough of it. Truthfully, I've only gotten to Act 2 of Diablo 4 because Beth and I just can't stop ourselves from doing every little side quest, world event, and dungeon. Kyovashad alone has 35 side quests, and that's only a small portion of the map. The gameplay loop is addicting, and so is the gear drops. What I also really enjoy is that the world levels with you. If you get to level 35, the enemies in the beginning levels will also be level 35 as well, so you're constantly having a bit of challenge fighting enemies and getting better gear because you're fighting stronger enemies. Oh, and did I forget the game is an MMO? That's right, you'll run into other players in the game just doing their own thing, living their own life. Hello! Greetings!
Greetings. Greetings.
Stupidest fucking shit, dude! You'll mostly see players in towns though, not as often out in the wild, as this game is more of an MMO light, meaning that while there are other players, there's not like a shit ton you'll see around, as if you were playing an MMO like Final Fantasy XIV. The only complaint I have for the game so far is the difficulty. There are 2 world tiers in the game to choose from, with 2 being the hardest. Beth and I are on world tier 2, and most fights are laughably easy. Now, I know I'm just an epic gamer, so maybe other people have a hard time, but for example, there are world events in the game that give you a specific time to clear said event. When we do the events, we clear through it easily. It doesn't really feel all that difficult. It could be because there's 2 of us playing, and the game could just be harder when solo, but I don't know. Even if one of us dies, which isn't often, it still feels really easy to clear through sections. The only time there's been any difficulties where I feel myself get that rush of adrenaline is when we go to strongholds. Strongholds are basically towns you have to free from demons, so they end up being infested with enemies. For whatever reason, the final boss of the areas are incredibly difficult compared to the rest of the game, with either Beth or I dying to the boss and the other one only holding on by a thread. All in all, Diablo 4 has been an incredibly fun experience. I don't really recommend people spending the amount of money we spent on it. However, I do recommend people at least give it a shot, especially if you're a fan of Diablo style games in general. And all in all, I'd rate the game like, I don't know, some score. You know, it was pretty good.